All right, everybody, Dr. Imfan Akpan here. I'm a fan of Riley Brown. I think he's very energetic. He comes from a different viewpoint when it comes to AI that I think is very interesting, very optimistic, which I think is good. It's good to kind of see both sides, optimistic, pessimistic. I think things are kind of in the middle, but I thought this video, particularly about Codex and agents and the skills, are important to talk about, give you something to think about when it comes to agents, how they're working. So I wanted us to kind of walk through this and take a look at this video.
Claude Code, Cowork, Codex, or any other AI agent platform, you're in the right place. Today we're talking about becoming agent native, or the person at your company with the most knowledge about using AI agents effectively. In this video, we're going to be covering the 9 inevitable trends in the AI agents.
So we're not going to go through all of these. I think the first 3 are very important. And I think the concept to really think about is becoming agent native. And this is not only a technology shift, it's a mind shift from using LLMs to managing LLMs. So to have them, the agents, to do the work for you, to start thinking about workflows. I think that's very important as far as shifting your mind and you're thinking about the AI
space that, if you understand, will make you 10 times better at using AI agents in business, no matter which agent tool you use. This video is not about the latest tips, tricks, skills, or weird prompt engineering hacks, because the truth is, most of that stuff will change over the next year, and likely will become irrelevant. In this video, we're going to be talking about the 9 inevitable trends that won't change. Let's dive into trend number 1. So the first trend that you need to understand in order to become agent native is that AI models are getting much smarter. And so when I say AI models are getting smarter, I mean that we are moving from a world of prompt hacks to just saying what you want in natural English. For those of you who were around in 2023, early 2023 specifically, when ChatGPT first came out, every other Twitter thread was a ChatGPT prompt hack. And the most popular one was, I want you to act as. People would say things like, I want you to act as a virtual doctor. I will describe my symptoms and you will provide a diagnosis and treatment plan. Some people were even talking about how you should say, I want you to act as a Linux terminal. And now in 2026, nobody does this. You just ask for whatever it is that you want. I want you to act as basically does nothing. Similarly, for those of you who were around in the early Cursor days, in the early days of vibe coding, you remember how important it was to @mention the file that you want to edit. And people started calling this context management because you were always having to @mention the different files in your code base. And now all the best developers that I know simply just type prompts into Claude Code or Codex. And oftentimes, people use the voice mode and just yap into Claude Code, and they just send the prompt off, and they don't.
I think this is important. So prompt engineering, it is not as important. What's important is getting that information and talking to and telling the AI what you want it to do. And one big shift, like you mentioned, is I've had to go from typing my prompts to saying my prompts, to being able to talk to the AI and to really think through what you want it to do, and it will understand it. And just being intentional and detailed with it is very important. But talking is, because it's a lot faster, you can get a lot more information out to it. And it's really like you're talking to an employee or explaining things to an employee.
Don't spend any time mentioning the different files, because AI agents and AI models are getting so good that all it requires is natural language. The better you are at describing the thing that you want, the better AI is going to be at creating the thing that you want. You don't actually need to know the hacks. You just need to be able to describe to a computer what it is that you want. And again, this is true across the board. It's not just
And if you're using Codex, you can steer it. So if you forget something, you think about something, it'll keep working, but you can throw something in the mix and steer it, and it'll catch up to that without having to start over. So that's a huge. And if you think about it, things like that will only get better.
normal LLM work or vibe coding, it's also AI generated images. For those of you who are around, you remember that Midjourney was full of hacks or these things called parameters. So if you wanted an image that was high quality, you would use -- quality or -- Q. If you wanted it to be personalized, you would do -- P. If you wanted to use a style reference, you would use -- sref, and then you would type out this code that maps to a specific style. Fast forward to today, and if you're using the GPT Image 2 model, none of that matters. There are no hacks. It's simply about descriptions. So I can click on this image right here. Please make his shirt green, make his hair orange. I'm talking about the guy on the left, the guy on the right, make his glasses blue, make his hair green, make the background logo yellow, make the entire background rainbow colored, and make the text say, English is all that matters. And then I can just, run this as many times as I want, and English is all that matters. There's literally no prompt hacks. Describe what you want, and there you go. All of these were generated, and you can pause the video, look at my prompt, which was just me speaking into the GPT Image 2 prompt, and it came out nearly perfectly for all of the images. So the lesson of trend number 1 is he who can describe what they want the best will inherit the world. Said another way, the only enduring prompt hack is describing what you want. And so the second AI agent trend that you need to understand is that skills are taking over and they will self-assemble. And so if you use Claude Code, Claude Cowork, or if you're like me and you use Codex, you probably have set up a ton of skills. Like I have this Excalibur diagram skill. I also use plugins like the Documents plugin or the Gmail plugin. I also have a YouTube thumbnail plugin, a YouTube researcher plugin, or a YouTube channel brief skill. All of these are skills, and all of these skills point to instructions. These are just instruction files that are stored somewhere inside Codex. And these skills, you can find them by clicking plugins, and you can click skills. And these are all of the skills that I've created. I've created over 100 different skills that I use every single day. And so whether you use Claude, and that includes the Claude desktop app, or Claude Cowork, or Claude Code, or if you use Codex or Cursor, all of these tools have skills. And all skills are task-specific instructions for the agent. And so
that's important, because I'm a big proponent of picking a platform, learning that platform, and sticking with that platform to use it and learn it. So all of these platforms have skills, which are really agentic workflows so you're creating your own workflows with the agent platform that you're using. And these are workflows that you use all the time. So they're readily available for you. So the AI remembers that particular workflow, and you call it up to do that particular work. And you can build those up. So again, if you think about it, the person who, number one, is able to describe, and a lot of that has to do with talk to the AI, who can talk to the AI, has a lot of practice in using that. It's the typing, talking to it like an employee, describing what you want. That person's going to be way ahead. Second, building these skills. So you wind up building a whole library of the skills, which will later turn into automations. So you can start building these workflows. Then you can schedule them. Then you can call them up whenever you need them, so you're not starting at zero. So if you think about it, the person who's using these agentic platforms, Claude, Cowork, Codex, Cursor, you're at least a year ahead of everybody else, But then if you're learning how to maneuver in there, you'll be even farther ahead of everyone else because you'll be even faster in setting up the agents to do the work for you. And really what it leads to is automations, because then once you have the skills, you'll figure out the things that you do over and over again, and you'll figure out ways to schedule the AI to get started on it or to do the work completely from start to finish for you without you having to do anything. So I think that's very important to think about.
How many people started creating skills if they were using a tool like Claude. And this is the way that I actually don't recommend, or I actually just personally don't like doing. You can just go to the Customize tab. On Codex, it's the Plugins tab, but you can go to Skills and you can hit plus, and you can create a skill by uploading a skill. And you can upload these skill files. And so you can manually type these out, and you can create these skills that your agent can use when your agent deems it necessary to use these specific instructions. And this is not the way I create skills. The way that I create skills is I will tell the agent to do a thing, then I'll get the agent to do the thing better or to make the thing better, and then I'll just tell it to turn it into a skill. For instance, I have a skill called YouTube Researcher Skill. Please look up my latest Codex video, which is called something like Learn Codex in 95% of Codex in 20-something minutes. I want you to write out the exact hook from that video and then outline the rest of the video. So here's the agent's response. It extracted the transcript of the video, turned it into the full intro, and then it outlined the rest of the video. This is really good. I have no notes for this. Please, I want you to turn this into a skill called hook outline. Okay, so now it's working in the background, and it is going to create a skill that will show up here called hook outline. So now that that's done, I'm going to make a video on Devin, the AI tool, very soon. So I can say, I'm making a video on Devin. Please try to decide what I would say, and I want you to create a /hook outline. We've created a skill, and it should create it in that exact format that I just showed you. And there you go. I know this is a very simple skill, but look at this. It created it in the exact format that we specified earlier. And let's say I actually want these links as hyperlinks in the outline. I'm going to just say, hey, please remake this. If the sources are relevant in the outline, please include it there. Then once you're done, I want you to update the skills so you do that in the future. Okay, here.
So you notice he's talking to the AI. So it's not you're just typing out a prompt and telling it, to act as if. He's actually telling it what to do. So that's a big shift. So you talk to it. The other thing, he's using those / keys to call up the skills. So if you notice what's happening with the platforms, there's a learning curve because you're going to have to figure out how to create the skills, how to call them up, how to add them to these new instruction prompts to get the AI to do what you want. So this is a whole nother learning curve from just using a chatbot or the LLM to managing an agent app platform and then putting together skills, thinking through how to use this, particularly for your job. So learning all of this is a whole nother skill and a whole nother mindset. And you move from having to work with the AI, like you're there, it's helping you, you're working together on something, which you can do with your agent. However, in this case, you've got to think about how I can set it up so it'll do the stuff for me. So it's more like this is an employee that you have and you're training it up. So all of these skills you're giving to it to help you to help it to do work for you. So this is like your training. And then once you have the training done, it's like you're superpowered because you can either start it to work on stuff for you while you're working on something else and then monitor what it's doing, or schedule it so you have automations where it's actually doing the work for you, and it's scheduled to do this work for you. And the other is with the apps, you can control your computer. So you can be somewhere else and then tell it what to do, then it's doing it, and you're not even there. So you could be doing something else. So when you think of it from a productivity standpoint, it's like you've got an employee that's on call 24/7, to do stuff for you. And which is a lot different than having an actual employee who's only going to work for a certain amount of time. And this employee knows exactly how you like things and can work on your behalf. So once you start to master that and understand how that works, the other thing that will happen is that your skill set will also grow as the AI gets better. So when you have these workflows, when you have the automation set up, as the models improve, like we're on 5.5, they come out with 5.6, they'll only work better, faster. So you already have the workflow. So it's kind of like you build out these workflows in this platform, and then your employee will get better, smarter, faster, more capable, and you've already got the foundations made, which will help you. So it's like if you're already into this, you're going to be way ahead of someone who's not into it. And then eventually, you think about someone who's not using AI at all, they're way behind someone who's doing their work with a chatbot or using a chatbot to help them, draft emails, etc. And then the other person who's managing their agents is almost light years beyond the person who's not using any of this stuff. So it will become very noticeable, because if you can just imagine, someone can have a lot of these tasks automated, messages automated, emails, automated, answered, and having their AI to start on certain projects or tasks, they're way ahead of someone who's not even using any of this, to the point where it's going to start getting noticeable. The other thing is, if you're going to be not using anything and then jump to managing agents, it's going to be a learning curve. Eventually it's going to be so tough, because not only do you have to change your whole mindset, you have to start learning the platform and then understanding how to build skills and workflows. I got to tell you, the thing that helped me, and this is how fast this is going, I took a course. I'm an L3 Mind Student Agent Developer. So I learned how to build workflows and agents from scratch. And to be honest with you, that skill it's valuable, because now I understand how they work and it helps with my mindset. But with Codex and these platforms, you really don't have to build it. They just instantly appear. You can talk them into existence without having to build them. Where it helps is these Codex and Claude Cowork are captive platforms. So you have to use OpenAI models or the Anthropic models to run these agents. If you build your own through, N8N, a Mind Studio, you can choose which LLM they run on, but you got to build each one. Now, there's AI that can help you to build them, but you've got to put together your workflows, and it's a process. So it's not the AI just doing what you tell it to do. You've got to you can do that, but it's not as fast. I mean, this is literally you say something and it's done. So I really think these are definitely things you have to think about. So keep that in mind.
It says, done. I also updated the hook outline skill. And so in the future hook outlines, I'll put the source links directly in the relevant intro or outline beats. And there you go. We have the intro and the outline with relevant links within the actual description, not just listed at the bottom like it is here. So the takeaway for trend number 2 is just to use skills often, especially for repeatable tasks. And the second part is when you notice where a skill can be improved, just ask. And the meta trend or the longer term trend that I want you to notice is you're going to see this process happen automatically. Your AI agent is just going to create skills for you. And then depending on your responses, your skills will auto update. The AI tool that does this the most is actually the Hermes agent, which is kind of just a better version of OpenClaw. Their AI agent is really good at auto updating skills where you actually don't even need to ask. And so the future of AI agents is just auto updating skills depending on how you interact with it. So trend number 1, smarter AI models. Trend number 2 is skills are becoming really important and soon they will self-assemble. And trend number 3 actually encapsulates both of these two trends. Trend number 3 is that AI agent platforms are becoming general purpose platforms. And so when I say general purpose platforms, I mean super apps. And the two main super apps that are available on the market are Claude Desktop and Codex. And Claude Desktop, if you can think of a super app, the 3 main functions are just chat, co-work, and Claude Code. You can chat with Codex, you can create presentations on Codex, which is just like co-work, and you can also do coding tasks on Codex. And so the main takeaway is that these model providers like OpenAI and Anthropic are building platforms. So this is Codex, one of the super apps, and it has basically everything that I might need in order to do knowledge work. It can create a new chat, so I can chat with an AI agent. That's what I'm doing here. I also have all my plugins and skills that, again, I can create just by talking to my agent. I have all of the automations. So anything that I type here, I can turn to an automation. We'll get to this in just a second, but you can create automations. And as of 2 weeks ago, they also added sites. So any website that you create with the plugin sites on Codex will actually host the app for you. It'll put it on the internet. This is a direct competitor to Replit, Lovable, Bolt, tools like that do all of these hostings. You can just do that now inside Codex. Right now, this is only for internal tools and internal sites for you and your team. But very soon, I have a feeling that this will be for everyone. You'll be able to host your ChatGPT sites and share them with anyone. A good super app, you should be able to multitask. So at any point, I can hit Command N, please do research on my email, tell me what I need to respond.
So I think that's the last point I wanted to talk about. And you have that function in Codex where there's a browser, you can create sites, and also there's, as I mentioned in my last video, where I was showing this platform where you can connect and work on web pages or apps together with your AI. And an example of that is a writing platform called Proof Editor. You can connect to that in the browser, and it's like Google Docs, but with AI. So you can go in there with your Codex, start writing a document, and your agent can edit it for you, make changes for you, and someone else can come in and work on that document, either alone or with themselves and their agent, or they can have their agent to go in and work on it with you. So you have these platforms that can connect teams, individuals in a space, so in this case, a document, and you can all write on it, work on it, human with agent, correcting, adding, editing, reformatting, all in real time. Then it can track the parts that were written by humans and the agent. So you can look and see what was done by a human or the agent. You can look at the track changes, decide if you don't want to use them. So you have these platforms, and this is key. When he talks about those sites and this way to, if you can put it on the internet and connect, what's going to happen is instead of you having to do Codex, because I may like Codex, someone else may use Claude Cowork. Now we can come together with our preferred platforms. So if I'm working in Codex, someone else doesn't have to work in Codex. They can use Claude Cowork, connect on a document or a project, and our agents can work on it. We can work on it, and then collaborate. And then each of us have a copy of it. So now these platforms connect you and your agents, because then you can go in, someone can work on a document like that proof editor. I can have my agent to edit it in my particular style. Then I can go in and review it. I can make edits, have it to reformat, check sources, update, reference. You can do all of this in this document, and then someone else can review it. Your agent can review it. Have this like super collaboration platforms, not only with websites, documents, spreadsheets. So you have all of these things that you can work with. And again, if you're not using any of this at all, I think it's going to be hard. And if you want to watch my video from last week, you'll see a demo of where he's on his phone with Codex and telling Codex to create a draft of a web page. And Codex goes and does research and makes the web page. And then he can go and look at it. He's on his phone somewhere, walking around, exercising, doing something. He's got a draft of it. Then he can tell Codex, he can look at it, tell Codex to make edits. Then he can share it with someone else on this platform. So it could either be done or they can do more edits with it. So this is where things are. And this is only going to grow. So when they talk about super apps and these platforms, the thought is this is more and more going to be how work is being done and people sharing these things and building skills. So having your own skills are going to be important. Having your own platform and then being able to connect on these web pages that are designed for agents and humans to get together to collaborate are going to be key, because you can start something, share it. You can create a draft of a website, of a presentation, send it instantly and get feedback, and then work on things autonomously or have your agent work on it, and you can finish it, and you can do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things at the same time. So when you think about the LLM, this is what I mean by someone who's using the LLM would be behind, is that before you're working, chatting, talking, working on one project. Now you have to think that you're not limited. You can do 7 things at once. You can start the agent running on different tasks, and it will update you on what it is you need to get done. So it's not really like it's like you've got one employee, but or more than one employee in one platform that can work on 10, 15, 20 things for you at the same time. And then you can even start scheduling these things, and you're managing all of this. while you work on something else and you're updating these things or being updated on them as you move along. So take a look at last week's video. I'd like to hear what you think. If you're interested in this, make sure you like, subscribe. I love your comments and appreciate you so much.